Yeah, this will be our first time we've actually been out of the city of Cincinnati here during this 2021 basketball season. So we're excited to get out on the road. So it'll be our second chance to get a what we call a road kill. We got one at Cincinnati earlier. We got a tough opponent in Creighton. Creighton's obviously one of the more talented teams, not only in our league but in the entire country. They're a prolific offensive team. Top five offensive team in the country. They move the ball extremely well. They play with four guards most of the time out there on the floor, so the spacing's incredible. They're going to take a lot of threes. They got four guys usually on the floor that are all very, very good shooters. So we got to do a great job of keeping them out of transition. We got to be really, really disciplined off the ball with our vision, with our closeouts. They're going to really test us on the defensive end of things. And on the other end, we just got to continue to do what we've been doing as far as on offense, moving the ball, good player movement, ball movement. And I think that if we do that, we're going to continue to get really good shots. But we're excited to play at Creighton.
If you've got a question, just click on the participants button and you'll see the raise hand button and I will call on you. We'll start with Adam.
Coach, you mentioned Creighton's ability to score, and really you look at your own team's ability to score. It kind of feels like this is going to be a game that's decided by which team can string together a few stops and key spots here. And what are you looking for specifically in terms of your defense in this game? I know rebounding is important. I know being there on the catch, but is there something that they do really well offensively that you feel like, hey, we have to be prepared for this. We have to know how to defend this?
Yeah, I think number one, Adam, is their ability to play in transition. They have four guys that are going to bring the ball up, and when you have that ability, it allows you to play very, very fast. So we got to make sure that they run half-court offense. That's critically important. That's number one. Number two, I think they do a great job of driving and kicking. Right? They, especially that opposite corner skip. Like, they'll drive the ball. And, again, they're a team that's going to average about 27, 28 threes per game, right, and attempts. And so you can't get baited into, helping in on penetration, right? You got to go early recovery, and you got to be there on the catch every single time with high hands and stay down on shot fakes. Again, it's a game of discipline on that defensive end, and it's going to be tested because – their pace of play in the half court, obviously they play fast in transition, but in the half court, they move as well as any team in the entire country. They pass the ball as well. Their player movement's incredible, but that's why they're an offensive juggernaut.
Adam?
On more than a few occasions now, you've talked about your team's chemistry, and you've referred to them as having it. And I'm wondering, was there a moment when you realized that about this team, or when did you realize that your team had that ability this year?
I think it starts just in practice, Adam. Like our ball moves, guys have bought in to how we want to play on that end of the floor. Our guys are giving great effort. So that starts in practice, right? And then as it wears on a little bit, though, when playing time starts to be given out, I think that's the true test of it too, right? Because it's real easy to start saying, well, man, I should be getting more shots or I should be getting more minutes. But again, you got to put the team first. And I'm going to put I'm going to play the guys that are going to help us win, period, at the end of the day. And again, I'm going to play the hot hand like Adam had it going yesterday against Marquette. When we went with Adam, we went with him down the stretch. So again, it's going to be different guys, different nights. That's the blessing of having great depth. That's what great teams have, and understanding that we're all going to have to sacrifice to a certain degree in order to get to where this team really wants to go.
Next question, Andy.
Travis, Marquette went out there.
Oh, Andy, you went on mute.
Hello?
Yep,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, Andy.
Sorry, I'm a child of the 60s, Travis.
No, you're good.
What can I say? Marquette went out there in the league opener and beat them. Is there any instructional information you can take out of how they did that?
I think number one, they really out-rebounded Creighton. I thought they really got them on the glass. I think number two, they made a lot of shots themselves. I mean, they did a lot like they did yesterday against us. I mean, they scored the ball at a high level. You have to be able to score the ball to beat Creighton. I mean, because you're not going to pitch a perfect game. And I've told our guys, listen, whether they go on a 6-0, 9-0 run, it's what they do. We got to be unflappable. We can't blink. You just got to stick with it. Play as hard as humanly possible, be disciplined, and guess what? They're still going to make some shots. They're an offensive juggernaut. You can't flinch. And I thought Marquette did a really good job. I think they were down, I want to say, by about 9 at half, maybe. And then they went on their own run there in the second half. So, it's going to be a game of runs. You just got to weather through those runs. But I thought they did a great job on the glass, specifically against Creighton.
Is Creighton the same animal they've been under McDermott? It's let it fly, or have they changed at all in the way they play?
No, I mean, they're letting it fly. They're definitely letting it fly. They do have the ability. They have guys that can dribble drive, though, as well. And it's from all four positions. That's what makes them so dangerous this year. I mean, when you got Mitch, you got Zagorowski, you got Mahoney, you got Damian Jefferson. I mean, any of those guys can use ball screens. All those guys can shoot. They can all handle. They can all pass. They got great size. I mean, Mitch is 6'5", 6'6". Mahoney's probably same size. So is Damian Jefferson. So they have a very, very versatile team, and they play the right way. They've conformed to Creighton style, and man, they makes them really difficult to guard.
Adam?
Because of the quarantine, I think you got to watch a lot more basketball during the season than you normally do, outside of scouting your opponents. But, watching the Big East early on here, how wide open do you think it is this year based on kind of some of the games and some of the results and some of just the close contests that we've already seen so far?
Yeah, I think it's really deep, Adam. I think every game is going to be highly contested. They're all going to go down to the wire. It's who can execute in those moments. But, I mean, I think yesterday, out of the first two games are overtime games, or two of the three were overtime games. And then ours obviously took a shot to keep it out of overtime at the buzzer. And then, you had Georgetown, St. John's at night. That's close. I mean, I just think all these games are going to be highly contested. It just shows you the depth that I think our league has. There's a lot of good players, a lot of really good coaches. I think it's genuinely wide open. I think you've had a couple teams get a lot of preseason recognition. Like Villanova and Creighton specifically, and they deserve it. I mean, they're as good as any teams in the country. But I think our league is way more than just Creighton and Villanova. There's a lot of really, really, really good teams.
Adam?
I know Dwan is in that return to play protocol right now. Will he be able to travel with you guys to Creighton, or will he have to stay here for that game?
Dwan's still dealing with the COVID-19 protocols. So he will be able to travel though with us because he was able to be at the game yesterday and be on the bench, and he wants to be with his teammates. I told him he's just got to bring great energy in his role right now, and that's what he's doing.
Adam?
It's kind of been a popular topic of conversation right now throughout college basketball. What are a lot of these programs doing for the holidays? Have you made a decision? Are you going to let your guys go home to celebrate with their families, or are you bringing their families here? I've kind of seen that go both ways around the country. Yeah,
it was up for a lot of debate. We obviously had to talk with the Big East. We had to talk with our doctors. Our opponent that we're going to play after Christmas was really important, so we could still be able to play that game on the 30th against Seton Hall here. We decided that we thought it was best for our guys to be able to go home for Christmas. And I told our guys, we're very fortunate that we're able to do that. right? You know, and they got to be really responsible when they're home. But I think it's important, I really do, during the holidays, they need to be home with their families. You know, I don't think you can put a price tag on that. You know, that's the right thing to do. So those guys will be able to get a couple days back at home. And then as we'll get back here, we'll test. We'll have plenty of time to test in order to be able to play Seton Hall on the 30th.
Any other questions? Adam?
I was just curious, you mentioned that this game against Creighton will be the first time that you guys have left the city of Cincinnati. And I know Mario is probably more appropriate to ask about this, but like, how different is this road trip going to look from just, because of the pandemic? Like, how are you guys approaching this differently than in previous years?
You know, Adam, that's a great question. That's Mario, part of one of his bullet points of responsibilities. I do know there's been a lot of thought, right, that's gone into it. You know, between Mario, Susan Lipnicki, who's an associate athletic director here, Greg Christopher, Dr. O'Cragley. They've had tons and tons of meetings leading up to a first road trip. So, whether it's assigned seats, how we're spaced out on the planes, whether it's how when we eat, how that's going to look, right? It's not going to be the same as it's always been. There's not going to be a buffet line where we can all kind of go through and get our own food, and it's going to be way different. It's going to look different. How we room, how we room our guys in the hotels is going to look way different. The team meetings that we have, it's going to be way different, right? There's just so many different things. The bus, I think there's going to be multiple buses, not just one, so we can space out. Different things like that, just to make sure that we're trying to put our guys in the best position to be safe and healthy. But Mario has done a really good job. I know, spent a lot of time on it, planning how we're going to travel.
Anything else? Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.